This is an airbrush, and this is a compressor. Together, these are the only things you need to start airbrushing. There are some other useful accessories, but we will talk about those later. What you want to paint your miniatures is dual action airbrush. This means that when you press the trigger, it will spray just the air, but when you pull it back, it will spray the paint as well. And the further you pull it, the more paint will it release. Some airbrushes can be set up so you don't pull it too far by screwing the handle. This is useful when you are starting out and you are not used to it just yet. When you look at the compressor, there is usually just an option to turn it on and off. Also, you have an option to set the pressure. I usually use around 1.5 bars, but you can go a bit lower if you paint very small details, or higher if you want to be quicker. Start by attaching the airbrush and turn it on. It's useful to have an airbrush thinner and flow improver at your disposal, because for some paints, water is not enough. Additionally, I run flow improver through the airbrush when I switch between different colors, and when I finish my painting session. Depending on your paint, you can either mix it inside the cup or somewhere else to separate chalky bits. Either way, add some water and some airbrush thinner. And if the paint is going dry way too quickly, add flow improver too. Your paint should have milky consistency and there shouldn't be any solid chunks. Usual problem is getting this spider webbing pattern, and in that case, decrease your pressure. Here you can see the difference between low pressure and high pressure. Generally, if you have any problem with the consistency, you can either adjust pressure, spraying distance, or the ratio of paint, water, and airbrush thinner. If the airbrush gets clogged, you can try high pressure, but usually cleaning the end of the needle or nozzle works. If it still doesn't work, try running flow improver or IPA through the airbrush using high pressure. When you paint, you should always press down the trigger first and then pull it, never the other way. When you stop, retract and then release it. If you don't do it like this, the paint will get everywhere inside, and it will cause damage in the long run. Notice how I slowly pull it to release paint. Depending on what you're currently doing, you can release more or less. If you are priming and base coating, you can use a lot of paint with high pressure. If you are building highlights, shades, or blending, use medium or lower pressure. In those cases, you don't want to spray with a steady stream, but in short bursts. Like this, you can easily build up a nice and smooth layer by spraying multiple coats. Notice how I shortly pull the trigger back and retract immediately after. That way, I spray air over the paint layer and it dries more quickly. This is not as useful when priming as it is when blending, highlighting, and shading. The current nozzle size is 0.2, which actually lets you prime the miniature as well as work on details. The smaller it is, the more precise it is, but it also gets clogged more often. So anything between 0.2 and 0.3 is a nice compromise for all techniques. Priming with an airbrush is quite obvious, but when you are base coating, you can use tools like blocking gum, liquid mask, or masking tape. That way, if your base coats are different, you can easily block off any space you don't want to paint. Additionally, things like hazard stripes are super easy like this. If you want to build volumetric highlight like here on this cloth, take it more slowly, but still it will be way faster than with a paintbrush. Simply going back and forth a few times will get you a nice smooth gradient. However, nothing stops you from combining airbrush with your regular brush. For example, you can sketch values on multiple places on the miniature and blend all the midtones. Notice that I spread the highlight quite a lot and place multiple midtones underneath. Now I take the darkest color and go over the midtones with my airbrush. The resulting gradient is done in a few seconds, but you still have to proceed slowly and carefully. We will talk about shading as well, but for now, this miniature is from today's sponsor, White Werewolf Tavern. White Werewolf Tavern produces high-quality 3D printable files for absolutely stunning miniatures. For $10 a month on Patreon, you get at least 8 unique models in various scales, and some models have busts. All models are pre-supported and test-printed beforehand, so it's super easy for you to print them. Now, White Werewolf Tavern wants to support you as well. By joining their Patreon, you get 50% discount to their My Mini Factory store, as well as a welcome chest with 7+ models. I think that these models are absolutely fantastic, and this is not the last time that we see them. Thank you White Werewolf Tavern for sponsoring this video. So anyway, if you wanna shade your miniature with an airbrush, you can simply use more deep color and slowly spray it into all unexposed parts. If you progress slowly, just like when highlighting and blending, the result should be really smooth. Now when you are finished with your paint, either pour it out somewhere or use a pipette for that. There is also this spray out pot, and when I finish and run either IPA, flow improver, or airbrush cleaner, I spray it there. It's also useful for holding the airbrush when you are not using it. Additionally, you can wipe the inside of the cup with your old brush and hold the tip of the nozzle around the needle and pull the trigger to clean it. Cleaning the airbrush deserves a whole separate video, but if you clean it like this after every painting session and run some cleaner between different paints, you shouldn't worry too much. Aside from a pipette, spray out pot / airbrush holder and masking tape, you need the actual airbrush and compressor. I am only using a cheap airbrush which costs a few dollars, and honestly it's the same as mid-level airbrush. After all you do is spray out paint, and the only difference is comfort and control, which is not an issue here, and it still lets me work on details details as well. Upgrading in the future is an option, but this is a great start. Personally, I would invest a bit more into compressor so it's not too loud. I have included starting airbrush set in the description, so you can check it out if you want. So as you can see, airbrushing can be quite easy and it doesn't have to be super expensive. It's a great tool that opens more possibilities and makes the process faster. If you enjoyed the video, definitely subscribe to my channel for more content like this, and see you in the next one. Bye!